If your vendor contract doesn't explicitly define the cleanup scope, or if there's no holdback tied to performance, you're not protected, and the vendor knows it. Today I want to walk you through what most association contracts are missing, why it matters, and what happens to communities that find out the hard way. First, let's talk about performance milestones. Most association contracts describe the scope of work, what the vendor is going to do. Very few of them define what done actually looks like. And that gap is where disputes live. A landscaping contract that says weekly maintenance doesn't tell you what standard the lawn has to meet, what happens when it doesn't, or when the board has the right to declare a failure. Without explicit performance milestones tied to measurable outcomes, you have an agreement that's almost impossible to enforce. The vendor can show up, do something, invoice you, and you have no contractual basis to dispute it. Boards negotiate price carefully and then sign language that gives them almost no recourse. Second, indemnification and insurance verification. This is the clause that protects your community if a vendor's employee is injured on your property or if their work causes damage to a unit or the common element. Most boards assume their master insurance policy covers everything. It doesn't. Not when a contractor's negligence is involved. The contract needs to require current certificates of insurance, name the association as an additional insured, and include an indemnification clause that's specific and enforceable under your state's law. A generic vendor is responsible for their employees line is not the same thing. I've seen associations absorb 5-figure losses because the contractor's policy lapsed and nobody checked, because the contract didn't require them to. Third, termination clauses. Boards sign multi-year contracts with vendors, sometimes without fully understanding what it takes to exit them. A termination clause needs to define the notice period, the conditions under which either party can terminate for cause versus convenience, and what the financial exposure looks like if you need to exit early. A contract without a clear termination pathway can lock your community into failing vendor relationships for years or force you to buy your way out. Here's what I want you to understand. These aren't boilerplate provisions you can add to any contract. The specific language, the enforceability under your state's statutes, the interaction between your governing documents and your vendor agreements, this requires professional review every time. A one-size-fits-all template from the internet, not a contract. It's a document that looks like a contract until you actually need to use it. If your board is reviewing or renewing vendor agreements this year, this is not an area to figure it out on your own. At ManageMax, we know that effective community management is built on transparency and systematic excellence. We provide full-service HOA and condominium management across Southeast Michigan, handling everything from accurate financial reporting to proactive maintenance. Our goal is to reduce the burden on your board while protecting your property values. If you're looking for a partner who values accountability as much as you do, visit us at managemaxproperties.com. Let's build a stronger community together.